Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. This is Simone and today we are in a new location and we're gonna do the soul and funk tag of 2026. I've got the questions here. We're just gonna go straight into it. Thank you to Spin the Black Circle for putting the questions up. Some of them were actually quite easy, some of them were pretty tough to think about. Let's start. Your new release funk or soul record of 2025, no compilations. I've got two answers for that. One is this, Ledizi, The Crown. This is a fantastic R&B soul album. Now, I listened to a lot of stuff in 2025, but not a lot of stuff made it onto my shelves. I'm becoming more and more selective with what I actually buy, and something I really need to enjoy and cherish it and love it for me to actually go out and buy it. And this, I think, went under the radar for most people, but it's such a phenomenal album. If you're into R&B soul, new production, similar to Linda Dawn, similar to Raquel Rodriguez, this kind of stuff, this is just real pure gold that I think people didn't really notice. I also have to make an addendum to this. I know it's not part of the question, but I can't not share it because this is a phenomenal one. I'm gonna say for the 2025 best soul and funk reissue, for me, it's easy. Leela James, A Change Is Gonna Come. This is a phenomenal album from 20 years ago, and I know this album inside out by heart. This is phenomenal. I mean, look at her. I saw Leela James live a couple of times at the Jazz Cafe here in London, and this is the first time this has been on wax, on very pretty colored vinyl. Again, I know it's not part of the questions, but I couldn't not share this with you because if you don't know what this is, go and check it out. It will make your day, that's for sure. Question number 2, your best used find funk or soul album 2025, looking for pre-1980s. This is easy. This is a big one. Bobby Glenn, Shout It Out. This is from 1976 on Koala Records. This is quite a rare album. This probably is most famous for the Jay-Z sample, the song Cry sample. This is absolutely outstanding soul. It's not expensive because it's rare. It's expensive and rare and good. So when you buy this thing, when you buy certain albums and you're like, why is this so expensive? It's rare, but it's not as good. I'm thinking of like, what is the Craig? I can't remember the blue album, Craig Project. Craig T Project, something like that. Anyway, I think it goes for 50, 60, 70 quid. I'm like, I really don't see the value in that. But this is worth every single penny. Phenomenal find. I found this in Den Bosch many years ago, but this is a second copy and I couldn't let it go. The price was just too good. I'm not the one to collect sort of multiple copies of things, but this was too good of a deal not to get it. Number 3, show a funk or soul 7-inch you love that wasn't on a top 30 chart hit in your home country. Now, I'm from Italy. I don't have any 7 inches here in this location, so I'm gonna go for a 12-inch. That was not a top hit in the 30s. This is a bit of a fun one. MC Hammer, Adam's Groove. This is just a cute, fun song. My wife actually has a real connection to this because she danced when she was a teenager in a competition to this. But this was just a big tune anyway. But again, it didn't make the charts because in the 90s in Italy, this was not a big thing. This also has the Too Legit to Quit song, which is actually a pretty decent song. Not a huge fan of MC Hammer, but this is a good one. And it does have the giant poster, which I'm not going to bother taking out because it's huge. But yeah, just a fun one. Now, next, 70s album produced by 70s soul songwriter or star. Now, this was a tricky question. I really had to look into my collection to check out sort of what is worth sharing. And then I came to this. I couldn't really decide. This eventually then made the cut. Black Bach by La Mondosier. Obviously La Mondosier from the 60s, very famous producer, songwriter, and singer, of course. This is from 74. Really good album. There's a couple of tracks here that are really strong, but definitely the first song on this one, the opening track, is definitely probably the one to go to. This is actually relatively cheap heat. I remember buying this in the Spitalfields market, or at the fair that happens at the Spitalfields market in London. And actually I remember there was one guy trying to sell a copy of this for like 80 quid. And then literally the stall next to it, I found it for, I think, £6 or £8. So yeah, don't be fooled, like, be careful, don't get, don't get scammed. This is cheap heat. Don't overlook this. I mean, look at that cover, come on. This is quite iconic stuff. 74 on ABC Records. Incredible. Number 5. Show, in your opinion, the best ever soul album by a band from your home country. Now, I'm from Italy, and there's so many great albums. We're not famous for soul, necessarily. We're okay for funk. Definitely for jazz, fusion, proggy stuff. We are really killing it when it comes to Italian stuff. But I wanted to highlight something that comes from my actual region and my hometown, not just my home country. Soul and funk. This is pure funk. West Riviera, self-titled debut album. This is absolutely incredible funk. Think the meters like in 2025. This also has a phenomenal featuring which is from Adam Scone from the Scone Cash Players. This is on Sleepwalk Sounds. I think they're limited to 300 copies. The thing is, this really screams Genova, the my hometown, northwest of Italy, and it's genuinely groovy soul and funk with a distinct Italian vibe. Now, the Gianni song, the opening track on this one, is a killer. But my absolute favorite one, I mean, it's really hard to say, but probably will have to be the Un po' di Trabos number 2 on this track. The syncopation on that break is just, oh, and it actually sounds good. So it's good music that actually sounds good. It's been mastered phenomenally well. So go and check this out. I genuinely recommend this wholeheartedly. Samuele Pupo, the guitarist on this, man. Great guy and great musician. Next, we have show an album by a female soul trio or quartet. Now, female soul is something I really cherish and I have a lot of. So this was an easy answer. I mean, what was hard was actually choosing between the choice that I had. But I then ended up going for this. Love Unlimited, He's All I've Got. Now, found this copy at Love Vinyl in London. Thanks, Jake, for the hookup. It's not too hard to find, but this is a near mint copy, still in shrink. I had to have it. I love this album. There's like 7 tracks, and they're all killer soul, ballady, phenomenal stuff. This is also famous for. Oh, I first discovered this because of the sample that it's on here for Usher and Alicia Keys, the My Boo song. And I'm glad that they sampled it because it allowed me to discover this. But on its own, this is incredible, gentle, ballady soul from extremely powerful voices that are always right where they need to be. They never overdo it. Oh my gosh, this is a phenomenal album. This is great. If you don't know it, check it out. This is from 76, Unlimited Gold Records. Go and check it out. Phenomenal stuff. Next. I'm a friend with a total rock supremacist non-believer. What album or single do you play to convert them to soul and funk? Now, obviously I could have gone with Prince. I'm thinking guitars here, of course. and probably Prince would have been my answer. But then actually I thought, you know what? I think we need something that already gets them into the mood of funk, really. So I went for the other obvious choice, let's put it that way. Funkadelic, this is the self-titled. This is a reissue. Obviously, originals are very hard to find in Italy and in the UK, in London. I don't think I've ever seen an original of this. I saw an original of Maggot Brain, which would have been my other choice for the obvious Maggot Brain killer guitar on that track. But I think this could be the best compromise because actually it is more funk somehow than Maggot Brain, or more straight funk, should we say. And this is also like psychedelic enough that could get someone in the rock, from the rock genre, converted into at least deep funk and then starting it from there. However, this is sort of an obvious choice, if you wish, or a little bit more of an obvious choice. If the rock, what did I say? The rock Supremacist is more of a 80s rock, AOR scenario, yacht rock. I actually thought of this, which is actually, I wouldn't even know if it's a soul and funk album, but it's on Playboy Records. Hamilton, Frank and Reynolds, Falling in Love. This is a really, really enjoyable listen, and I think this is kind of soft rock / soul funk that could be potentially a good choice. Again, maybe not for the Led Zeppelin fan and Pink Floyd aficionado, but for someone that likes, I don't know, from Duran Duran to Tears for Fears or any pop rock from the 80s, probably this could be a good transition album into something more mellow. So the Funkadelic album gets us to more psychedelic, more hard grooves, funk grooves and deep funk, whereas this would bring us more to soul, into the soul direction. The fact that Playboy, like the actual Playboy, had a record label issuing stuff is still mind-blowing to me. This is a really good album by itself, and there's the Falling in Love track, which is, I think, the first on side B, is probably my favorite. This has also been sampled famously by Drake and by a couple of other people as well. That's how I discovered it in the first place. So there you go, you have two now recommendations for the rock Supremacist. Next, show a 12-inch solar funk record from the era of the 80s and 90s. I don't have a lot of 12 inches because I mostly collect LPs. However, this is a great boogie 12-inch from the 80s, 1983. Kinky Fox, So Different. This is a killer boogie record. I can't recall where I first heard it, but obviously I'm also a dancer and I specialize in popping, hip-hop dance and especially popping dance. So anything that goes into 80s boogie, boogie funk is really something that I cherish and that I do collect. And there's a lot of stuff, but luckily most of the popping tracks are also on LP version. I look at the One Way here, you know, loads of popping dance tracks on these guys right here, for example. However, there's some artists that only release stuff on 12-inch. This is one of them that is just an earworm of a song. I sang this in the shower for like 2 months straight in 2025. It was such a oh, you gotta check that out if you don't know it. Now, show a funk or soul album that contains a track which lasts in excess of 8 minutes. I have several albums with that sort of description. I decided to go for this because I got the Funkadelic already. I showed the Funkadelic album before for the other questions, so I thought, let me go with something else. And I could have gone with anything from Isaac Hayes because most of his records actually have such long tracks. But I decided to go for the Groovathon because he has a 9 minutes and 48 seconds song, which is the Groovathon, the self-titled track on this record. this is just a really good record. This has been sampled as well quite a lot, especially also in Italian hip hop, which probably is where I heard this from. Again, super cheap heat, a fiver, a tenner if you find it sealed for a tenner or less. So a genuinely real cheap heat. Not as sleazy sound as the other Isaac Hayes. This is more towards the disco-y era. We're talking 1976, but the hot butter soul scenario sort of is still there somewhere, but we're going towards the late 70s sound from Isaac Hayes. A really, really good album as well. Then we have your single, and you have a promising date arranged. I've been married for 10 years, so yeah, it's really hard to answer that question. However, choose one soul album to get you in the mood for romance. Now, I chose two because I couldn't decide. Because when it comes to dating, of course, again, this is just a thing about, instead of talking about dating, I would talk about having a date with my wife. And there's two options. If we're doing something fun, or if we're doing something more classy or relaxed, let's put it that way. So if we're going for the relaxed version, I would have gone for the Tyrone Davis, Can't You Tell It's Me. This is just a really, really nice, soft, mellow album. There's some really good tracks on here. Actually, most of them are really good. And yeah, Love You Forever, Really Gonna Miss You. Like, of course, the message on this is a little bit mixed, but this is a genuinely really good album. Again, relatively cheap to find. This is actually a promo copy, I just realized, white label promo. I think this is the white label promo of this. From 79, however, this still stays within, sounds-wise, it still stays within the 70s era, so it doesn't go into the disco-y thing yet. Several things from him are genuinely good, so go and check it out. So that's answer number one for this, if we're doing something chill or like a little bit more romantic and relaxed and smooth. Whereas if we're going something, say we're going dancing, or we want to get charged and maybe we go to a party or something, then probably I would choose either or high fashion. Either the Feeling Lucky, album, because, you know, why not? And then the Make Up Your Mind album. They're both killer boogie, funk, soul stuff from the 80s. They really get you into the dancing mood. On this one, the Feeling Lucky lately, and the whole Dawn tracks are the killer tracks. And this is their reissue, I'm afraid. I don't have an original of this, whereas this is the original pressing, US pressing. And on this, probably my favorite one is You Satisfy My Needs. This is actually a little bit harder to find. I found this at Yo-Yo Records in London, near mint. Most of the stuff they sell is near mint, and I'm so grateful. Prices do reflect that, but they're still very fair for the conditions you find the records in. So if you don't know Yo-Yo Records, check them out because they're a phenomenal store. And yeah, You Satisfy My Needs from High Fashion probably is the track that I would choose from this one. But again, you can't go wrong with High Fashion. Phenomenal choice. Lastly, what when push comes to shove, in your own opinion, is the greatest funk or soul album ever made? Of course, immediately I thought of Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. That's probably sort of the one that would immediately come to mind. I would also say something about Stevie Wonder, maybe Prince. It's really hard to not mention the greats of the genre. And I'm gonna go with another great. I don't know if this is the best album ever, best soul and funk album ever, but this is an absolutely iconic album. Al Green, I'm Still in Love with You. Look at that cover album. Look at the chair. I think it's called the Peacock chair. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But anything that has a chair like this on the cover, go and get it, because most likely it will contain some heat. I think there was a trend on this. I think there's a list on Discogs about this. This is an original German pressing that I found in Germany quite recently. This, for whatever reason, is going for it's getting more and more expensive as we speak. I still found this for like 10 euros or something like this, because clearly the guy didn't really care about soul and funk. He's more of a rock guy in the store. That was in Frankfurt. But this is just one of those classic soul albums that from 1973, which is probably the year that I most cherish when it comes to 70s soul and funk, really. Just incredible. All the tracks on here are, this is basically like a best of from Al Green. Obviously sampled many times by loads of people. Really good. I'm sure you're familiar with this, but even if you are familiar, go and check this one more time again, because it's still genuinely worth your time and attention. It's big for a reason. Do you know what I mean? Great. There you have it, guys. Thank you so very much for watching. I'm Simone. Let me know in the comments if you know any of these records, or if you have any recommendations similar to what I showed you, so that I can discover new music. Subscribe, like the video, do all the jazz, you know what to do, and I'll see you on the next one.